welcome, and welcome to Fansview Fridays. If this is your first time tuning in to Fansview Fridays is a weekly Friday stream where we review convention legend Kevin Lillard's convention reports. Unfortunately, Kevin had left us, he's left this earth in 2022, and his website, Fansview, has left a legacy with our convention world. Unfortunately, Fansview is no longer online. However, it is still here by the graces of web.archive.org. Kevin Lillard has been reporting conventions, taking cosplay photos from the late 90s into about 2009. Even though some of his photos may have surfaced on the web, however, his reports, his stories, and his thoughts about each convention deserve to be documented and deserve to be preserved. So every week, we'll take a trip back in time to a convention. And now, let me tell you about NekoCon. Yeah, NekoCon. NekoCon 1999, which took place from November 5th through the 7th, 1999. I swear, anytime I say the phrase November 5th, I want to do the line from Back to the Future. November 5th, 1955. But we're here November 5th, weekend of 1999 in Virginia Beach, Virginia. We have artist Robert DeJesus and actor Tristan McCavery were at the con. And NekoCon keeps its official webpage over here, and this is where you can click onto the website. Just out of curiosity, let's see what the NekoCon website looked back then, if we can. Welcome to the NekoCon Flash website. Please check back for updates on NekoCon V or 5. If you like your site linked with this one, please contact the webmaster. Wow, updates! The following have been updated. Video contests. Added anime music video winners for NekoCon Flash. Cosplay added the cosplayers whiners for NekoCon Flash. Cool links, not yet in links. A Fansview NekoCon Flash report. Okay, they really like throwing around the word Flash. All right, maybe it was like some late 90s thing I wasn't too aware of, like Flash. All right. Day one highlights. Looks like this report is going to be short and sweet. Here's our usual look at the first people encountered at the second NekoCon. Do you doubt that Pokemon is a big factor in the United States in entertainment industry? Just look at this display of merchandise spotted not at the convention hotel or comic specialty store, but at a newsstand in Raleigh, North Carolina airport on Friday. I always like how Kevin documented his trip, going to and from and also leaving the convention, and also just pointing out just moments in time or noticing something about the world outside the convention. So here's an example of one of them. So it'd be no surprise that one of the first images at the Holiday Inn where NekoCon is held is a fan with a large Pikachu pillow, not photoed. Also, there's no surprise to find artist Fred Perry, a Virginia native, at the Virginia Beach Convention. This is a rare picture of Perry sitting and not drawing something at the convention. The people who are working a few feet away in the convention operations room were these volunteers busy getting hall passes ready for the waiting fans. Just outside was Robert DeJesus and a fan, and the Mighty Dan, a future Extreme Champion Wrestling TV champion, shown out of his Johnny Bravo costume. Sadly, we do not have a photo for that. Okay, looks like we're going to have to deal with some missing photos, but let's use our imaginations, shall we? Some people want to get into the dealer's room and at an anime convention so badly they'll get on the floor and wait. These were the first 4 fans in line on Friday. Strolling past that group with his ever-present walking stick was actor Tristan McCavery, Gendo from Evangelion, who currently stars in car ads on Houston radio stations. Can you imagine Gendo trying to sell you a car? Get into Honda, Shinji. McCavery had just walked by the entrance to the hall that was slated for use as the main event's auditorium as soon as the tech crew figured what all those wires did. Our first glance at the inhabitants of the arts alley, waiting patiently for people to get through the registration lines and start buying stuff. And an energetic Kate Robards ready to introduce the guests at opening ceremonies and travel to Japan to teach in 2000. Exceptionally cool as always, carefully hiding his glee at the success of the Pokemon comics, was Toshifumi Yoshida of Viz Communications. Alright, we have a photo here. Decon had to share the Holly Inn Executive Center with a couple of groups of mundanes on Friday. One couple chuckled when the author described NekoCon as Pokemon on steroids. This is what the convention organizers wanted to see. Long lines of people to register and pick up badges when the lines open at noon on Friday. NekoCon was likely to have more than twice the 1998 attendance in 1999. Alright, let's go through more day one, this and that. Hopefully we can get some photos to load. Then we'll glance at the first costumers at the event. Oh no, pictures, please load. I guess there wasn't a lot of capture of the photos. Well, it's 15 captures here between November 1999 and January 2009. Okay, looks like we don't have photos for NekoCon. Not found. Oh, so sad. NekoCon dared for the unusual or silly at opening ceremonies. A non-bunny girl-clad Kate Robards presented over opening ceremonies, at times doing her best imitation of a kindergarten teacher out of Mae West. Pokemon actors Rachel Lillis and Lisa Ortiz were introduced. Lillis was coaxed into singing a portion of the Jigglypuff song to thundering cheers. Next came actor Tristan McAvery, who mentioned he was looking for roles, and artist Colleen Doran, who somehow trapped into dancing with superfan Rob Lance in black outfit. Other artists were more soft-spoken and non-dancing, including Robert DeJesus. And Fred Perry. Neither man said much more than look for me in the artist alley, or in Perry's case, the video game room. Alright, what other opening ceremony shenanigans shall we find ourselves into? Steve Bennett of Studio Iron Cat needed the sunglasses to protect his eyes against his shirt, while translator Shin Kurakawa dressed in tasteful black, and was also roped into dance act with Lance. Pat Duke of Radio Comics was minus Ellen Winkler, who was back home in Texas with the flu. Duke had some information on his company. The manga compilation they had planned will be published in conjunction with Studio Proteus of California, and Radio Comics will be publishing some Gold Digger compilations from Fred Perry. Toshia Yoshida from Viz Communications appeared on stage to give thanks for Pokemon. He said the series had moved 10 million tapes for Viz, and Pokemon comics remain the nation's bestsellers, among the hottest selling black and white comics of the decade. Another superfan, online expert Steve Pearl, may have expected a straightforward introduction, but he was trapped by a dancing Rob Lance and Kate Robards. And co-chair Larry Drews tried really hard to do a Michael Buffer imitation, but the less said, the better. Aw, not found. Sad. These are our best people. Another flock of costumers entered the NekoCon fray as the sun fell on Friday. Alright, let's hope we get some photos here. Yes, we have photos. I love this. Okay, we have Ukyo. We got some girl power, some shoujo magic in this next photo. I want to say this is from Bust a Groove, Bust a Move. Squall. Yeah, Final Fantasy VIII was huge at the time. There's Two Heart. I might know this Two Heart cosplayer. Final Fantasy VIII. Oh, we have JoJo. We have JoJo and Ultraman. Yes, JoJo. A Wild JoJo appears in 1999. Okay, I want to assume that's from Ursa Yatsura. We have Ukyo and Lena Inverse. I want to say these folks are from that game, Bust a Move, Bust a Groove. I forget which one is which. Please don't sue me or bully me over that. We also have our two-heart person over here. We have some dealer's room awesomeness in the background. And I can also see, like in the photo here on the right-hand side, you can see some card-captor Sakura dolls. I actually own a few of them. Sadly, because of age and wear and tear, sadly Sakura's hair is falling out. I might find for like one of those small doll wigs for to restore my Sakura dolls, which would be a fun project to do. Okay, we have a character from Sorcerer Hunters. Sorcerer Hunters, there was quite a bit of cosplayers from Sorcerer Hunters back in the day. Okay, we got Sailor Mars, and we have, I want to say is Robert Garcia from King of Fighters, but I'm not so sure. We'll take another look into the creative mind of artist Colleen Doran. All right, what you guys say, Colleen? At Katsucon, we heard how artist Colleen Doran grew closer to her law enforcement family through discussion of forensic pathology and bomb defusing around the dinner table. At NekoCon, we learned some insights about Doran's masterpiece, the multi-volume A Distant Soil, a tale of, I'm just going to use the phrase here, transsexual interplanetary politics and war. What inspired Doran to create this story? It was the 1960s Aquaman TV cartoon, of all things, and the influence of anime and manga. Doran said she really liked Aquaman and decided to create her own fan fiction based on the character. I had a big crush on Aquaman, so I created a girl for him, she said. The Aquaman fanfic contains seeds of A Distant Soil. For example, a fanfic character who drew on the life force of older people developed into the avatar in A Distant Soil who draws the life force of his people. The story wasn't influenced by manga and anime because Doran wasn't familiar with that art form when she started the story in 1983, when the only anime shows she had seen were Star Blazers and Battle of the Planets. We had no idea they were Japanese, she said. We thought they were made in Hawaii, and that was the reason for the funny names. Some things don't age too well. Doran didn't discover anime and manga until well after Distant Soil was underway, and she was delighted to see that the dominant visual art of Japan was so close to her drawing and writing style. When I found there was an entire country of artists drawing like me, I thought, hey, now everyone's trying to draw like me, but 10 years ago nobody wanted wanted anything to do with me. Doran sounds a little frustrated when she speaks about the difficult road toward getting Distant Soil in print. She tried to find a publisher, and that didn't work. Then she tried to publish the book herself, just when the number of comic distributors was rapidly shrinking. 14 distributors went out of business, costing her the money she had paid them to handle her book. Finally, she reached an agreement with the breakaway independent comics house Image, which had published the compiled Distant Soil. At NekoCon, Doran said she wouldn't mind seeing the work animated one day. Okay. Hard work led to a great collection of costumes on Friday night. All right, let's take a look here. Okay, got 6 pages of costumes. Oh my god, I love this Team Rocket group. This is so adorable. We got Misato and Pen Pen. Looks like that's from Star Ocean, I want to say. Not sure what this one piece, I want to say this is from Oh My Goddess, but I'm not so sure. She's giving a lot of Erd vibes, I think. Okay, just scrolling through here. We have Buletta. Just scrolling through. We have Misato. We have, I think that's the main character from Shamanic Princess. We have more Final Fantasy VIII. We got Irvine. Got another Irvine. I wonder what's Irvine's thoughts on anteaters. Okay, sadly, we do not have photos from the rest of the. Okay, Jeff Thompson of The Right Stuff had some cogent comments on the industry. Cogent. Cogent. A couple of questions that were raised when Jeff Thompson of The Right Stuff at the Iowa-based anime producer and distributor appeared at NekoCon on Friday. What about sub versus dubs? The never-ending debate. Thompson joins the others in the industry who say that dubbed anime is taking over from sub videos. That's because retailers prefer to carry dubbed anime, he said. On the fan sub question, he agreed that those fans produced translations are cutting into commercial sub sales, but wasn't certain of the impact on the market. Thompson also noted that fan subs help spread the word about some shows. Then there's a Pikachu versus corn question. Which sells best? Thompson wouldn't say, but he noted that both have a strong following, shown by the orders to Right Stuff, which carries both kind of anime. The company had started with the Astro Boy tapes, considered a kids show, and then branched onto the adult field. Thompson's had some wild stories about creating ads for the adult line that once ran in the Penthouse Comics anthology. Still, the company crown jewel, irresponsible Captain Tyler, is still selling plenty of tapes, he noted. I do love me some Captain Tyler. Beyond that, Thompson said he found out that people have objected to one item in Right Stuff ads: smoking. When the general release of Right Stuff catalog was sent to people on the company's youth mailing list, there were complaints about an ad for a Golgo 13 movie because Golgo was smoking, and parents didn't want their children to be exposed to smoking. Then there was a time a Right Stuff ad for Cowboy Bebop had to be changed because Spike Spiegel was pictured with a cigarette in his mouth, Thompson said. Thompson just finished work on his comprehensive 208-page Right Stuff catalog, used by many as a listing of all anime available in North American market. That catalog has a cover picture of the Jungle Emperor series, which was brought to the US as Kimba the White Lion, and that's not a coincidence. Right Stuff has the rights to that series and will sell it on home video. What fans will get, Thomas promised, is the series as it originally aired on American television in the mid-1960s. The English language version produced by Fred Ladd. There's no subtitled Japanese language version as part of this deal. So, you want to be a voice actor? Let the experts check you out. I love, like, back in the day, there was like a lot like, hey, come on, be a voice actor. And these days it's like, hey, learn how to VTube. Before the glamour and the paychecks, there are the ego-busting auditions and the struggle with the script. The anime voice actors at NekoCon, Michael Brady, Rachel Lillis, Tristan McAvery, and Lisa Ortiz, gave fans a taste of real-world acting when they held a Friday night demonstration. The actors put fans through a mock audition. Those who dared were given a piece of paper with a few lines to read, cold with no rehearsal. Then the actors took roles of casting directors, showing the fans how they would be required to give several readings of their lines and then moved out of the booth to make room for the next audition. If they are at a cattle call and the director says, "Thanks, next," that's not a sign of a bad performance, said McAvery. Lillis added that being criticized in audition isn't something to be taken seriously, that it happens to everyone trying for the part. After the first reading, the director won't look at you. They want you to concentrate on the tone of your voice, she said. And asking fans for different readings of each part, the actors gradually got the point across that there isn't necessarily one single correct way to play a role. The character's background and motivation can make a major difference. Also, making a difference is the stance you take at the microphone. Ortiz noted that since actors aren't shown during a dub, they can't use contortions and gyrations to put themselves in character for reading. Your physicality really affects your voice, said Ortiz. Brady said he enjoys the direction he gets from Scott Houle at Coastal Recording in Wilmington, North Carolina, because Houle gives actors more control over their lines than other directors. The English language translations had to be turned into something understandable for most audiences, but they also had to be comfortable for actors. So Brady said Houle lets actors rewrite their lines, and if they see fit, but only after they first studied a tape of the show. All right, let's move on to day 2. Before it was 12 noon, there was a wild array of costumers in the halls. Okay, looks like we got Vash here. Not sure who that is, but I do dig the Y2K stylistic vibes. Kind of getting some Princess Jasmine energy from this. We have Tenchi. Well, looks like we have movie jury. Okay, just scrolling through here. I want to assume that girl over there is from Gatekeepers, because I actually have a friend who cosplays from Gatekeepers. It's really given that kind of vibe. Okay, we have Lime. Relina, I assume. Diana. It's given Fashugi Yugi. Sorcerer Hunters. Vash. The backside of a Miki. Okay. One photo here. Looks like we have another Sorcerer Hunters cosplayer. Okay, we have Kenshin. Okay, sadly we don't have photos here. All right, let's move on with day 2. Actor Tristan McAvery explained the real world of anime translation. During his now concluded term with ADV Films, Tristan McAvery acted in dozens of dubbing projects, but he also directed several. Princess Minerva, Ushio and Tora, Panzer Dragoon, and Galaxy Fräulein Yuna, among others. Directing an anime dub means you have to pay close attention to the translations, which McAvery also wrote from time to time, which put him in a unique position to explain some of the hardcore fans' complaints about dubs. McAvery started with a defense of Yuna from those who say there's too much squealing by the female character, saying, "That's the point. The whole show is about squealing." First point, all animes dub whether in Japanese or another language. American anime cartoons start with the actor's voice track. Twitchy animators must match their work. Anime starts with the animation, to which the actors overdub their roles. That's why the lip flaps don't match very well, McAvery noted about anime in Japanese. Take a close look at a subtitled video and you'll see that the mouths don't follow the vowel and consonant shapes of the language, they just open and close. Second point, if you want to enjoy anime in the purest form, your best bet is to learn Japanese, said McAvery. Jokes and puns that are familiar to Japanese will be lost in the translation unless a viewer is intimately familiar with Japanese culture, which most North Americans aren't, he said. McAvery likes to use the examples of a phrase which literally translates, says, "his head went white," but means he went pale. A literal translation in this case would confuse viewers rather than getting the story across, he said. Dubs are going to be more popularized and less otaku-nized, or they're going to be stilted and not natural, McAvery said. Finally, there's the rule of the marketplace, where dubs outsell subs, especially in the mass market video outlets where most anime is now in stock. In those stores, customers prefer dub films to sub films. Most people don't want to read a movie, so they take a dub, he said. If you want to reach the largest possible audience and make the largest possible money, you release a dub. If we're going to otaku-nize the entire world, you might as well make anime accessible, he said. The early afternoon costumers collection grew and grew. Okay, just scrolling through here. Nice wingspan. Okay, we got some Lum here. Oh, I do love that tiger jacket. I do have a tiger jacket one of these days. I should go. It's like a parody version of Lum, like Grand Auntie Lum. Just look all bougie with like my tiger jacket. I go as rich Asian auntie Lum. Ah, Felicia. Okay, we got Nurse Joyce. Yeah, Nurse Joy. Officer Jenny, Nurse Joy. I'm convinced that Nurse Joy is Filipino. For those of you who are Filipino, you get the joke. Okay, just scrolling through. Got an Eternal Sailor Moon. Yeah, this is like at the time when Final Fantasy VIII was really getting popular. Okay, we got Faye and Spike. We got some M. Bison. This looks familiar, not sure what that is. We got boy type Utena. We got one of the Shadowloo dolls. The grown-ups of Evangelion, Ritsuko and Misato. Okay. Alright. Let's take a look at more happenings on day 2. And here's a look at the members of the cosplayers mailing list who gathered by the pool on Saturday afternoon. Yeah, I was aware of the cosplayers mailing list, but I was never a member. Not quite sure who I know here. Yeah, seems like good vibes. The Guild of Voice Actors at NekoCon delighted fans with stories about their roles. Oh, these are always fun panels. Did the actors who dub anime into English ever listen to the original Japanese voices? Fans at a Saturday afternoon NekoCon panel were told that the actors occasionally use the original acting as a guide, but they have to develop their own performances with the guidance of the show's voice directors. Rachel Lillis said that the producers of Pokemon wanted her to use a laugh for the Jessie character, which sounded like the original Musashi performance. Michael Brady, left center, said that he studied some of the Japanese originals, but he had to concentrate on the English script. Lisa Ortiz said she was intrigued to learn that Pokemon performance of hers sounded much like Megumi Hayashibara's original. And Tristan McAvery said he decided to soften his version of Gendo Ikari for the original Neon Genesis Evangelion. Was I thinking of Hannibal Lecter? McAvery said. No, but it's a good comparison. It's rough enough to handle one role, but what about 2 or 3? It's like switching personalities, psyching yourself up is a physical thing, said Lillis. Ortiz noticed that she's gone through weeks where she played 3 major roles on 3 straight days of recording sessions. I came on a Tuesday. I didn't know who I was, she said. McAvery said the multiple role mess happens often when there are several bit parts that need to be filled. And Brady said that the producers with whom he works at Carolina Recording won't let a person play more than one role. He doesn't want to break the illusion that you're watching a major motion picture, said Brady. Roles evolve as actors and producers trudge through the episodes of a long series. Ortiz noted that Deedlit in the second part of Record of Lotus Wars was different than the elf from the first part of the series, describing the second performance as Deedlit after she's had her morning coffee. Jesse and James were supposed to be villains at first, Lillis added, but they turn more comic as Pokemon progress. They're more snobby than villainous. They want to be mean, but they can't pull it off, she said. Oh yes, for the second day in a row, Lillis was asked by fans to sing the Jigglypuff song, and she complied. Just when you thought all of Neko's costumers were on hand, more arrived and some brought out new costumes. Alright, let's take a look-see here. Okay, we have Slam Dunk. Yes, Slam Dunk. Okay, scrolling through here. Team Rocket, Vega. Okay, scrolling through. We got the mom from Child's Toy. More Shadowloo. Not sure what that's supposed to be from. Okay, got more Shadowloo dolls. I want to say this is Zex from Gundam, I'm not sure. Hey, Professor Ramses has entered the chat. Maybe he can help us out. That's Zelos and Amelia from Slayers. Okay, she looks familiar, I'm not quite sure. So we're thinking that this is Alucard from Symphony of the Night. And we have Eminem in the background. Nah, it's not Eminem. It's just some guy just really vibing with those Y2K fashion vibes. Things that would upgrade Netflix. Symphony of the Night, Eminem. I've just been hearing very bad things about the DMC anime. Yeah, there is a lot of Street Fighter at this con. Watch new releases from the video companies represented at NekoCon. Alright, who's ready for some new releases? And this is, remember, this is November 1999, so let's see what's on the horizon. At an anime convention, people are interested in the dealer's room, the music videos, and the art show and the costumers. Away from the convention, people want to know if any new releases were announced. To that end, we present Jeff Thompson of The Right Stuff, Toshi Yoshida of Viz, Shin Kurokawa of Anime Ego, and Jerry Chu of Anime Village during their Saturday afternoon panel. The group said they heard all the buzz about an anime only cable TV channel and hinted that companies were working on the plan, but no one knew if and when that would happen. Okay, Thompson, who had hinted an announcement on Friday, said on Saturday that Right Stuff had the rights to Gainax series Karikano and would release in 2000. Thompson joked that he was the only person in the company who liked the series and pleaded with fans to please go out and buy it. He expected that Karikano, because of its sparse language, was going to be a tough show to translate, but it would be worth all the effort. Earlier, of course, Right Stuff announced that they would release the 1960s Kimba the White Lion series in the English language translation that was shown on US television. Kimba and Irresponsible Captain Tyler are destined for DVD release, he added. Already, Yoshida of Viz announced at Anime Expo that the California company would have another series, the live action Love and Pop. Yoshida followed that up at NekoCon, saying that Viz was moving toward picking up the Japanese live action art house films, such as Welcome Back, Mr. McDonald, looking at the theatrical and video release for those films. The major change for Viz in 1999 was the move to Pioneer as the distributor of Viz titles. As a result, Yoshida said, there will be a pause in the release of new Ranma one-half videos until February 2000. DVDs of the Ranma and Key the Metal Idol series are planned, but not for Video Girl AI. Video Girl I. Yoshida said Viz doesn't have the DVD rights for I. Those rights can be separate from the rights to sell video cassettes. Kurokawa said that Anime Ego is working on a large number of DVD releases, including the yesteryear series. DVD work has been tougher than expected, he said, because of the technical details of the new disc takes time to master. Chu said there are several titles in the works for Anime Village, but nothing's ready to be announced. One thing to expect in 2000 is the Saber Marionette J to X series, a continuation of the company's other Saber Marionette releases. North American DVD releases of Anime Village titles will have to wait until Japanese DVDs are out, he said. Already, the Gundam Wing series has been announced as a new show for the Cartoon Network, accompanied by a release of toys and model kits from the show. Chu isn't certain if the CableNet Standards and Practices Office is going to ask for any changes in Gundam Wing. Alright, let's just take a look at the chat here. From Professor Ramses, I was about to say, didn't Kari Kano notorious with his subtitling and it missed that date? Huh. I actually do own the Kari Kano official release, but I've never actually opened it from the packaging. I had the Kari Kano VHS fan subs, and those were the ones I was watching more. But it was like later, like in university, when it was on sale, like on like a swap meet, I ended up buying the whole like DVD series. But I never watched the DVDs themselves. Most of my knowledge, if I remember correctly, was watching it fan subbed in high school, and that was like my WB like series. Okay, here's a backstage look at the costumers who entered the NekoCon masquerade. All right, let's just take a look at who is competing in the cosplay show. Okay, we have Felicia from Darkstalkers. Felicia is my favorite character in Darkstalkers. Sailor Moon. It's Sakura from Cardcaptor Sakura in my dream costume. Not sure what this is from. I assume it's one of the Clo cards. Got a Street Fighter group. Oh my god, Blanca. Then we have more Street Fighter. We have Ryo over there. Okay, we have Bill Dandy. Okay, just scrolling down. I do like this bird look here. Again, not sure what it's from. I want to assume because they were standing next to a Sakura. I'm like, is this like one of the Clo cards? Not sure. Yes, Blanca, Brazil represent. We have Kenshin over here with a Megami. I was supposed to cosplay as a Megami back in the day. The guy with the headgear is Pizza from Gal Gai Gar. Sure his name is not Pizza Bala? Harlock! Harlock was one of my runner-up names to name my cat. But then we went with Neko. We got Cammy. Yeah, speaking of cat names, one of my friend's cat's name is Cammy. We have Tuxedo Mask. And then Sailor Moon. Okay. Not sure what these two are. I do find them very interesting. It's like, I feel like I know what it's from, but I'm not too sure. Professor Ramses, can you help us out in the chat? Can you identify? The one from the left is Alex from Lunar. Okay. If anyone can identify who's on the right in the comments, would very much appreciate that. Bust a Groove. Yeah, I was like, okay, earlier I was like, is it Bust a Move? Is it Bust a Groove? And those costumers stormed on stage for the strangest 90 minutes in anime fandom, the NekoCon Masquerade. Strangest 90 minutes in anime fandom. Okay. Alright, we got Street Fighter over here. Oh, we got a full cast. That's pretty awesome. We have Rose. Rose is like one of my cosplay ideas from Street Fighter. I also remember one time, I think I was like auditioning for like Street Fighter, the High School Musical or something like that. I was auditioning for Sakura. And before, because it was a musical, before I could submit a singing audition, and mind you, I am professionally trained in Broadway, they told me my chest was too big for Sakura. Okay, whatever. You wouldn't even let me sing. And this is a fan project, mind you. Alright, it's practically everyone from Street Fighter Alpha. Got Oh My Goddess. We had Ranma on a phone. Why, yes, back in our day, our phones had wires. And they had to be plugged into something. Oh, I love that Sakura. Then we have Genma. That could either be Hero, it could either be Vaughn from Escaflowne. Yeah, now we're starting to like dismiss some photos here. So sad. We have Guy with clipboard. Oh, we have Komodo Girl here. Yeah, Masato. We got Usagi. I might know that Usagi, I'm not so sure. We have Kenshin, folks. Okay. Oh my god, is that City Hunter? Because it's really giving some City Hunter. I've only seen a few, like, select episodes. Oh, Ramses in the chat says it's Raziel from Soul Reaver. I'm not familiar with what Soul Reaver is. Okay, we got our Sailor Mooninites. Got Eternal Sailor Moon. It's so surreal because I just made myself an Eternal Sailor Mars cosplay, and it's really hard to believe that the eternal forms of the Senshi were conceived like right around this time period, but the eternal forms still feel so new. Okay, we have Lunar, and we also have Sorcerer Hunters. Yeah, I've only seen the live action movie and a few select episodes of City Hunter and the Netflix live action. And I really like the Netflix live action movie. That was fun. But I haven't really seen like all of City Hunter. I've heard that I probably would enjoy Cat's Eye because it's a spin-off of City Hunter. And it's more to my liking of Phantom Thieves. And my only thing I know about Cat's Eye, it's the song, the opening theme was on Dance Dance Revolution. Yes, the Netflix movie of City Hunter is really good. Highly recommend. Okay, let's take a look at more cosplayers here. Oh, looks like we got a blank page. Alright, let's see if we got more. Yes, we have more! Okay, just scrolling through here. I think we're like not sure what they're cosplaying from. Okay, we have like Bunny Girl. We have like Feral Schoolgirl. Let's see. Someone here says Ramses be like. Is that supposed to be Ralph next to the guy in the suit? I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with like a lot of King of Fighters cosplay characters, although I should probably eventually learn how to play it one of these days. Okay. Yes, Ram, Steve Bennett is at this con. You know what? I think the next step we're going to look at is the judges. The judges didn't need much time to decide who was the best on the wild costuming night. Let's read that again. The judges didn't need much time to decide who was the best on the wild costuming night. Alright, Best of Show went to the Street Fighter group. Now, they had a pretty impressive group, I must say. Best Recreation, Best Craftsmanship, Best Novices, Cosplay Coordinators Award, Anime Village Award went to City Hunter. Oh, we do have a Steve Bennett's Award, but we don't know what it is. Chad Dietrich's Award, Rob Lance's Award. Oh, is that Naga? That's pretty awesome. Maria Tucker's Award. Michael Brady's Award. See, this guy looks familiar here, but I'm not sure what it's from. Special Fan Award went to Eternal Sailor Moon. Oh, wait. So I'm reading it wrong. My bad. Alright. So Best Kid went to Misty here. Staff Award went to Ryo Seba. But we will never know the Cosplay Coordinators Award and the Anime Village Award. However, Steve Bennett's Award went to the Adults of Evangelion. And you can see Steve Bennett in the background. And Rob Lance's Award went to the Ninja Scroll cosplayer. Thank you so much, Ramses, for identifying that. Maria Tucker's Award went to Eternal Sailor Moon. And Chad Dietrich's went to, I believe it's this Naga cosplayer over here. But feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. And Michael Brady went to Slam Dunk. And Special Fan went to Goku. Alright, day 3, let's go. No, Rams, you were perfectly fine. I could always use an assist in identifying fandoms that I might not have been too familiar with back in the late 90s. Because remember, I was a shoujo girly. I like things that sparkled and had romance. Alright, Pikachu. We have Panda with camera. I'm just looking at this panda here. It's giving us some Labubu. Okay, We have James of Team Rocket. You got a shy guy over there ready for the camera. You got a duo Pikachus. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a Genma Satome. But like I've been like watching like a lot of these like what is Labubu lore this and that because like I'm curious about this trend. I don't know much about it. About this whole obsession with these blind boxes. Hey Komi, how's it going? Well, I want to assume this is Resident Evil over here because it's definitely giving some of that Resident Evil earth tones kind of vibes. But feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. More than happy to be called out. Yep. Just kind of scrolling through here. I want to assume that is one of them angels from Evangelion. Looks like, I'm not quite sure what war uniform that's supposed to be. It's really giving like some Japanese reenactment. But they got some Scooby snacks, so can't be too bad. Got some Sailor Moon here. I did like how they did the braids, and I like the hair accessories they gave him. We got Laura Croft. Oh my goodness. We have Wedding Peach over here with a Chibi Moon lunchbox. I remember like Spencer's used to sell like this Chibi Moon lunchbox. Like this is like is like my childhood here. Like definitely defines my freshman year of high school. All right. Superfan Steve Pearl led a fan discussion of ethics and fan subs. All right, what is the conversation of subs looking like in 1999? Anime fans love to talk about dubs, subs, and fan subs. On NekoCon's final day, a group of fans led by superfan Steve Pearl got together to discuss those questions. Pearl happened to mention that anime video prices had dropped drastically from $40 an episode in the late 1980s to the current $25 for 2 or 3 episodes a tape. However, some of the fans felt the prices were still too high, and they thought that fan subbers were needed to keep U.S. companies alive, to keep U.S. anime companies honest. One fan said that if a fan sub show was better than the commercial release, something was wrong with the company that brought the rights to the show. Pearl said that fan subbers should back away from a show if a U.S. company buys its rights. Part of the established unwritten fan subbers code. Yeah, $40 for a tape in the 1980s, no way. This is why I praise like how anime is so accessible now. But we'll see kind of like what the future holds with everything that's going on with the world. But let's enjoy what access we have in the present time. So just for context, if you want to know how much $40 was in 1989, in 2025 dollars, that's $105. 105. That's almost like the cost of weekly groceries. Pearl likes fan subs when they're used to spread the word about series among members of the club. However, he's very worried about the trend of the groups who are selling fan subs as if they were a licensed retail project, especially on the web. Pearl said he's heard that some fan subbers are willing to selling hundreds of copies a month. With something like that, you can expect the companies to take notice. Eventually, someone's going to make an example of one of them, fan subbers, said Pearl. There was a critical talk about dubbed anime, with one fan saying that a show he disliked sounded like it was like the secretarial staff of the U.S. company had done voice acting. Pearl said no dub will sound as good as the original Japanese. I enjoyed some dubs, but I considered it dub show kind of a different version. During most of the dub discussion, Toshi Yoshida of Viz Video was sitting quietly in the back of the room. The fans just happened to say then that Viz dubs were getting better and Viz dubs grow on you. Toshi Yoshida talked about how Viz has become a Pokemon company. Okay, we're at the final stretch here of NekoCon. For most of the 1990s, America's largest selling comic book was X Men from Marvel. At the end of the decade, that has changed dramatically with the rise of Pokemon. The Viz comic, based on the manga version of the cartoon, has become the market leader with sales in the hundreds of thousands each month. It may be the best selling manga in US history. All of this delights Toshi Yoshida of Viz, who appeared at a Sunday afternoon panel discussion at NekoCon. How did Viz come up with the hot Pokemon comic property? Yoshida said that various Pokemon manga appeared in the manga published by Shogakukan, Viz's present Japanese parent Viz Japanese parent company. The home video rights to the Pokemon TV series came from a joint bid from Viz and Pioneer Entertainment, the company that now distributes all Viz video product. Yoshida added that Viz and Pioneer will handle two videotapes of the second year of the Pokemon series, which is now underway. There's a lot more coming from Viz. One new manga title is Eagle, the making of an Asian American president, from Kaiji Kawaguchi, the creator of the acclaimed Silent Service manga. In the submarine epic, and like Viz's earlier Sanctuary series, Eagle is a political story for adult readers who want to see more than fights and funny animals. The new fantasy manga title from Viz is Aqua Knight, from Yukito Kishiro, who created Visual Girl I. Oh, hey, we got someone in the chat. I'm monitoring some panels for Toshi and Trish this month at Animazement. Super awesome guy. Hey, welcome to the chat. Really great to have you here. Hopefully I pronounce this right. Ernie Ackerman. Thank you so much for stopping by. I always love seeing convention people in the chat. All right, on anime from Viz, Yoshida said there's such a glut out there. Everything's being bought up. While Pokemon takes up a large amount of Viz's efforts, there's still the company's old reliable Ranma 1/2. It's still selling steadily for the company, 6 years after the tapes were first released in the US, and more Ranma is on its way. Yoshida said he was planning to head to Vancouver to produce more dubbing sessions in the weeks after NekoCon. Yeah, Rams, this is when the whole bubble was expanding. The Voice Actors Guild took a final look at Pokemon and the future of anime in the US. So what did the future of anime look like in 1999? What were our predictions? And let's see what actually happened. This is why we do this. NekoCon came between the release of two major anime movies in the US, Princess Mononoke in late October and Pokemon, the first movie, in mid-November. Some people see these films as signs of ascendancy of anime among American audiences, and others see them as competitors. The voice actors the voice actors at the convention, Tristan McAvery, Michael Brady, Rachel Lillis, and Lisa Ortiz, were asked which movie they would be the biggest one. The agreement was that Pokemon would make the most money and Mononoke would be the greater work of cinematic art. I have a different view of Pokemon, said McAvery. It is for a young audience. It has a lesson in every episode. It does what it's supposed to do. Pokemon does it without the syrupy nature of Barney or the distrustful nature of Mr. Rogers? What? Sorry, my brain has to is mentally critiquing this. What? I need to debate you on this. Anyway, it falls just short of preachy. Comparing Pokemon to Mononoke is like comparing Apocalypse Now to Drew Carey. To which Brady responded in rare form, I love the smell of Drew Carey in the morning. A pun on the fame, I love the smell of napalm in the morning, line from Apocalypse Now. Lilith expects that Pokemon will have more adult ticket buyers than anyone expects, and not just who will be bringing the kids to the theaters. You have parents who like aspects of Pokemon. You're going to get an overlap of the two audiences who will go see both films, she said, adding that it's great to have two anime movies opening so close together. Ortiz sees Mononoke as a signal of the rise of anime as an animated art form that will be taken seriously by US movie critics. There's a big difference between a bunch of fish that swim and sign to a film based on craftsmanship and ideas, she said. So Ortiz thinks that anime will not be a mass market movie force, but will find a home on the art house circuit. It's not going to be huge unless it's something like Pokemon, said Ortiz. All right, flash forward to 2025. We have a re release of Mononoke. We've had, I'll tell you this much. Earlier this month, I went to Universal with one of my besties, and they had a Jujutsu Kaisen theatrical experience. So it's like going to a theme park. If you're familiar with like theme park history with Disneyland, for example, you're going in to go see Captain EO. This time around, you're going in to see the cast of Jujutsu Kaisen do their thing. And I would never imagine in 1999 that we would have theme park experiences based off of anime. That's pretty much my, well, where are we at in 2025? That's where we're at right now. All right, looks like we got some comments in the chat. Oh, hey, yeah, I know you. All right, yeah, thank you so much for the congratulations. Very much appreciate it. Yeah, always great to have you here. Feel free to stop by anytime next Friday. I just realized it's gonna be our 1 year anniversary doing Fansview Fridays, and we're gonna actually be starting with the futuristic year of 2000. Wow, I just noticed that, like, oh my god, I've been doing this for about a year, being a VTuber. So like, oh cool, 1 year anniversary. Let's go. And here we have Rams saying Pokemon, the first movie, ended up being #1 movie in America upon release. Yeah, I was there opening weekend. We wanted to get that special, like, Charizard card. We still have it. You won't be crazy if you really want to get the millennials' butts into theaters. Re-release Pokemon, the first movie, in theaters. Because, yeah, Nintendo is in for some hard times ahead. Hard times. And here are, and yeah, I'd watch it too. I'd get together friends like, hey guys, let's go to the theaters, watch Pokemon the first movie, celebrate its whatever anniversary, and let's just be nerds, you know? And here is our final look at NekoCon and the 1999 at the 1999 Anime Convention Circuit. Of all the weekend sites at the Holiday Inn Executive Center in Virginia Beach, this was the saddest. To see on Sunday evening that the space that had been used as a video room had already been gutted of its video projector, the seats cleared, circular tables set up, and a business reception was underway. The mundanes had already moved in before the smoke had cleared, so to speak. Will they be victorious in the end? Maybe not, because the mundanes didn't have much to complain about from NekoCon. Co-chair Larry Drews put it in this way at the closing ceremonies. The nighttime security folks were miffed with us. They were bored. We like it that way. As happened with Anime Weekend Atlanta, NekoCon had nearly as many people pre-register in 1999, 430, as attended the entire convention in 1998, 560. For the first time, NekoCon fans took every available room at the hotel. While dealers were frustrated at the small attendance in 1998, in 1999, they appeared to be pleased with an attendance of around 1,000. It's been a long time since the author has been asked by so many people what he thought of a convention that happened on Sunday at Virginia Beach. Well, the author was worn out more by NekoCon than any event since Otakon 4 months earlier. There was a lot going on, neatly spaced, so the author had enough time to run to his room, upload photos and stories, then run back downstairs to get more. Back and forth meant more material online for you to read, but there was a lot more work to get it online. NekoCon had more space in the previous month's Anime Weekend Atlanta and fewer people, so fit well into the hotel. However, if the convention grows in 2000, it will need a newer and larger facility. On that growth point, one fan asked the author, why are the cons so big? It's because many people are going to them, of course. So, what's to be said about the 1999 anime convention season? All right, let's get our vibe check here on 1999. First, it shows that these events found a home in the US and Canadian entertainment calendar. All of the anime conventions attended by this author saw record attendance in 1999. The events have proven to be so much fun that new conventions threaten to pop up in all parts of the continent. Second, It shows that anime fandom is growing and changing. You can't underestimate the impact of Pokemon in bringing an anime closer to North American mainstream. Accompanied by its video games and trading cards, Pokemon is turning conventions from a college guy hangout to a family show where parents bring their children. That change will irritate fans who think anime shouldn't be kid stuff. But the younger fans are likely to grow with Pokemon and become fans of other series. An example of Pokemon's impact: at the final Indie Racing League event of the 1999 season, there was a Pokemon sponsored car with the show logo and pictures of the characters. And Greg Ray, the driver who won the IRL championship, refused to get in his car until he found his lucky Pokemon cards and put them in the pocket of his driving uniform. Ray's car tended to wreck or blow up when he didn't carry the cards. Third, it shows that there is a bright future for anime and manga fandom. Sci-fi fandom is aging and without a major attraction to get younger fans into the fold. Comics in the US have fallen into a superhero and collector's rut. With only Pokemon, there's that series again, to drive the comics market and attract new readers. Fourth, it shows that conventions need to improve and change. The events are great fun, but they tend to be disorganized. Too many times the author has gone to a scheduled panel on time only to find no one in the room. Other fans will tell you the same is true of video room schedules. Eventually, all conventions are going to have to come to grips with the issue of bootleg merchandise in the dealers' rooms. Nintendo, for example, has put the world on notice that it won't tolerate counterfeit Pokemon, there's that name again, merchandise, and they followed up on their promise with a big U.S. customs seizure in September at O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Still, with all things that go wrong at conventions, much worse can happen in the real world. In August, the author stood inside the third turn of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and watched driver Greg Moore compete in the International Race of Champions. 1 week before NekoCon, the author sat in front of the TV set and watched Moore die in a 170 miles per hour crash at the California Speedway. The author spends lots of times in airplanes, traveling to conventions. 2 weeks before NekoCon, a Lear business jet crashed into South Dakota and killed golfer Payne Stewart. 1 week before the convention, an Egypt Air 767 crashed into the Sea of Nantucket and hundreds died. This is getting dark. Once, the author drove 100 miles to watch Walter Payton run the football for the Chicago Bears. Later, the author followed Payton's auto racing career with the Trans Am Sports Car Series. Payton died far before his time on Monday of NekoCon week. In March of 2000, SoccerCon will be held near the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport in Tukwila, Washington. 2 days before NekoCon, a man shot 5 people in Seattle, dozens of miles north of the SoccerCon convention site. And back in June, a fan who dreamed of a trip to Project Acon was murdered, allegedly by the same drifter who was responsible for several homicides stretching from Texas to Illinois. These ever-present tragedies help explain why the author is so attracted to the lights of anime conventions and puts a little emphasis on their flaws. In the face of an unyielding drumbeat of tragedy, you have to cling on to life's delights, and anime conventions have provided some wonderful memories for the author. Finally, heartfelt thanks to everyone who visits this page. The Fansview site has set one-day access records on Mondays following the final 2 conventions in 1999. Each visit is a vote of confidence for this page and the popularity of anime conventions. Also, thanks to all people the author has met over the last 2 years. If there's any payment for this page, it comes when someone walks up to the author at a convention and looks at his badge and asks, "Are you the guy who does Fansview?" And with that said, that concludes our NekoCon 1999 report. And with that said, next Friday is going to be our 1-year anniversary. And we're going to kick off our 1-year anniversary with, let's see. Okay, looks like we can't quite see it. All right, let's go to like the actual web archive website. Hey, I have to like cheat sometimes to figure this all out. We're going to Katsucon 2000 next week to kick off our 1-year celebration. very much looking forward to you guys tuning in next Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I always appreciate your support and your love here at the Wisteria Cottage. Again, this has been my virtual cottage to share memories with you, to talk about convention tea, to talk about a fan's view, especially on Fridays where we can just kind of look back at Kevin's memories because I don't want this site to die off and just go the way and just disappear forever. As we've learned through the past couple of months that webarchive.org can go down at any time, and we are doing our best to just preserve a lot of Kevin Lillard's memories, a lot of Kevin Lillard's accounts here, because a lot of this is convention history. This needs to be preserved. This needs to be cited by fandom scholars. And there's a lot we can learn from the past to move forward in the future. And with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Fansview Fridays. Again, next week, it's going to be CatsaCon 2000, our 1 year anniversary. Always glad to have you here. And remember, I also have my book out, the Fangirl Diaries. The Fangirl Diaries, you can actually order your copy. See a link in the description. We have multiple sources where you can get a copy of the Fangirl Diaries. You can get through my publisher, Amazon, bookshop.org, and more. So with that said, thank you so much for your time checking us out here at the Wisteria Cottage.